A dozit și doi. I thought money was simple. You got paid. You spent it. Then somehow, a few days later, it disappeared. That was it. That was my entire financial system. I remember one night going out with friends. Dinner, drinks, coffee afterward. Someone brought the bill. I barely looked at it. I just pulled out my phone, scanned the QR code, and paid my share. No hesitation, no calculation, no thought. The next morning, I opened my banking app and stared at the balance. There was almost nothing left. I tried to reconstruct the last 7 days. Food, transport, subscriptions, random shopping, delivery, coffee, a few small purchases I could barely remember, but I still couldn't explain where the money had gone. It felt like there was a hole in my bank account, and every month, money kept leaking through it. For years, I thought this meant I was bad with money, lazy, irresponsible, maybe even stupid. But now I see it differently. I wasn't broken. I simply had never learned how to read money. Nobody taught me how cash flow worked. Nobody explained interest. Nobody showed me how financial systems quietly punish people who don't pay attention. So I had to learn. Slowly, painfully, and looking back, I can divide that journey into 7 levels. 7 levels of financial awareness. Most people spend their whole lives stuck at level 1 or 2, and they don't even know there are 5 more levels above them. This was my journey. A 20 și doi. Payday felt like a celebration. Friday morning, salary arrived. Suddenly, everything felt possible. Good food, new clothes, a night out, maybe something I had saved on my shopping app for weeks. For the first few days, I felt rich. By Wednesday, reality returned. I would check my bank balance before going into a supermarket. Sometimes I would sit in the parking lot, open the banking app, and do the math. Can I buy groceries? Can I afford this? What if my card gets declined? And there was one moment I remember clearly. I was standing at a coffee shop. I ordered a drink I probably didn't need. I tapped my card. The machine froze for 1 second. Just 1 second. But in that second, my eyes moved from the machine to the cashier, back to the machine. Transaction approved. I smiled. The cashier smiled. Everything looked normal. But inside, I had felt panic. Because I wasn't sure whether the payment would go through, that half second told me the truth. I wasn't in control of my money. My money was controlling my emotions. At the same time, small fees were quietly coming out of my account. Card fees, banking fees, subscriptions I forgot about. I didn't notice them because each one looked harmless. $5, $10, $12. But small leaks become big leaks when you ignore them for a year. Then there was credit. I thought paying the minimum amount every month meant I was being responsible. The bank asked for $50. I paid $50. Problem solved. Except the problem wasn't solved. Interest kept growing. 20%, 25%, sometimes more. I didn't understand what that meant. To me, money still felt random. Sometimes I had it. Sometimes I didn't. Sometimes the card worked. Sometimes I prayed before tapping it. That was level 1. I wasn't managing money. I was reacting to it. A 24. I started becoming aware, and awareness was uncomfortable. My salary had increased a little, but strangely, my stress had not disappeared. So I did what every newly responsible person does. I downloaded a budgeting app. I created categories: food, transportation, shopping, entertainment, savings. I proudly set my monthly food budget. Then I checked what I had actually spent the month before. It was more than double. I stared at the number, closed the app, and moved it into a folder on my phone called Utilities. I didn't delete it. That would have felt irresponsible. I just made sure I couldn't see it. That was basically my financial strategy. Hide the evidence. I started playing little timing games with bills. Move money from one account to another. Pay this bill on the 15th. Wait until the 18th for that one. Delay a purchase until salary day. Use one wallet to cover another wallet. It made me feel clever, but I wasn't solving anything. I was just moving financial stress around the calendar. At work, people would talk about investing, index funds, retirement accounts, stocks, tax deductions. I would nod, like I understood. Then at 1 I would search. What is an index fund? Difference between stocks and bonds. How much money should I save every month? I was learning, but secretly, because I was embarrassed by how much I didn't know. Some weeks, I would spend too much on the weekend, and then survive on cheap food until payday. I knew I had a problem. I just didn't want to look directly at it. That's level 2. You can see the fire, but you're still hoping it somehow puts itself out. Then something changed. I stopped hiding and started learning, really learning. Podcasts while washing dishes, videos during my commute, articles at night, books on weekends. I became obsessed with money, not with getting rich, with understanding the rules. One day, I opened my first investment account. I transferred a small amount, money I had saved slowly over months. My finger hovered over the confirm button. I pressed it, and then nothing happened. No fireworks, no music, no message saying, "Congratulations, your future is saved." Just a number on a screen, a boring number. That was strangely disappointing. I thought investing would feel more dramatic. But wealth building, I discovered, is incredibly boring. For a while, I became the annoying friend who explained compound interest to everyone. I remember talking to one of my closest friends for 20 minutes. I showed him charts, examples, calculators. If you invest this much every month, at this return, for 20 years, look what happens. He listened politely. 1 month later, he still hadn't opened an account. That's when I learned something important. You cannot drag someone into financial awareness. People change when they are ready, not when your spreadsheet is convincing. Speaking of spreadsheets, I made one. I calculated what would happen if I invested a small amount every month for 20 years. The final number shocked me. Then another feeling appeared. Regret. Why didn't I start at 20? Why didn't anyone tell me this earlier? Why did I waste 2 years? But eventually I realized something. Regret is useless unless you convert it into action. I couldn't go back to 20, but I could stop wasting 24. That was level 3. I knew the theory. Now I had to build the machine. Knowing is not the same as doing. That lesson hurt. For 4 months, I told myself I should automate my finances. Every month, I'll do it this weekend. Then another month passed. Finally, one Saturday morning, I sat down. I logged into my accounts. Forgot my password. Resetit. Forgot another password. Reset that one too. 30 minutes later, I had done something I had delayed for 4 months. I automated my savings. A fixed amount moved into investments immediately after payday, not at the end of the month. At the beginning, that changed everything, because before that, my strategy was spend first, save whatever survives. Now the system became save first, live on what remains. I still made stupid purchases. I still ordered things online and later wondered why I bought them. But something had changed. I noticed mistakes faster. Before, I could waste money for 6 months before realizing there was a problem. Now I noticed in 6 days. Then I started seeing financial traps everywhere. 0% financing, but with fees, minimum payment, printed in large letters, interest rate, hidden in tiny text, cashback, but only if I spent more money in the first place. For a while, I became angry. I thought the system was designed to trick people. Then I realized anger wasn't useful. The rules were already there. My job was to understand them. So I cleaned up debt, canceled unnecessary fees, automated investing, built emergency savings, and slowly, money stopped feeling chaotic. That was level 4. The moment when financial knowledge became financial infrastructure. Years passed, nothing dramatic happened, and that was the point. I kept investing, month after month, year after year. Then one day, I looked at the account and realized I had reached a number I used to think belonged to rich people, my first major financial milestone, and strangely, I didn't feel rich. I felt calm. Then the market crashed. My portfolio dropped hard. A few years earlier, I would have panicked. I would have sold everything. I would have checked the app every 10 minutes. This time, I still felt nervous. I'm not going to pretend I was some emotionless investing robot. I checked the market every day, sometimes multiple times, but I didn't sell. I kept buying, because now I understood what I owned. Later, my income increased, and instead of letting my lifestyle absorb all of it, I increased my automatic investments. A raise came in, Most of it disappeared into investments before I even had time to get used to spending it. That was powerful. Because lifestyle inflation never had the chance to capture the money, I still improved my life. A nicer apartment, a quieter neighborhood, better security, small upgrades. But I stopped confusing better living with endless consumption. Then one month, something strange happened. My investments grew by more money than I had personally contributed that month. I stared at the number. This was different. For years, I had pushed the snowball. Now the snowball was beginning to move on its own. That is when money became quieter. At level 1, money was loud. Bills, stress, fear, calculation, declined payments. At level 5, money became background noise. And I finally understood why compound interest feels boring in the beginning. Because the exciting part happens much later. By my early 30s, my life didn't look dramatically different from the outside. I didn't suddenly become a different person. I still wore normal clothes, still drank coffee, still complained about traffic, still met the same friends. But mathematically, something underneath my life had changed. One day, our group chat started planning a trip. Flights, hotels, food, activities. The total cost was significant. Years earlier, that number would have triggered a 2-hour internal debate. Can I afford this? What bills are coming? Should I use credit? Can I delay something else? This time, I checked my schedule. 5 minutes later, I said yes. Then I noticed something. A few people in the group had gone quiet. I knew exactly what they were doing. They were calculating because I used to be them. And for the first time, I felt a strange distance. Not superiority. Distance. Money had stopped occupying the same amount of mental space in my life. For some of my friends, it was still present in almost every decision. Dinner, travel, rent, a broken phone, an unexpected bill. I started realizing that financial progress can become lonely. If you talk about money with someone who is struggling, it can sound like bragging. If you talk about money with someone 10 times wealthier, your problems sound tiny. There is this weird middle zone where not many people know what to say. Then one day, a younger relative messaged me. He was excited. He had saved his first small amount. To most people, the number wasn't impressive, but I knew better. I replied immediately, "Don't touch it," because I knew what that small amount could become. The money wasn't powerful yet. The habit was. That's level 6. You stop seeing money as numbers. You start seeing it as time, option, distance, freedom. Eventually, money moved even further into the background. This was the level I couldn't imagine at 22, because back then, freedom looked like luxury. A nice car, a large house, expensive watches, business class flights. But real financial freedom felt much quieter. It was waking up without immediately thinking about money, drinking coffee by the window, not checking the banking app, not because I was careless, because the system was already working, bills automated, investments automated, savings automated, insurance handled, emergency fund ready. Nothing exciting, nothing dramatic, just quiet. Then something happened at work. I was asked to take on a project that made no sense. Extra hours, bad timing, unreasonable expectations. A younger version of me would have said yes immediately, not because I wanted to, because I was scared. Scared of losing income, scared of disappointing someone, scared of being replaceable. This time, I said no, politely, clearly. No anger, no fear. And in that moment, I understood something. Financial stability changes the way you speak. Not because money makes you arrogant, because desperation disappears. A few weeks later, I was in a coffee shop. A young person in front of me was counting coins, then checking their phone, then counting again. I recognized the body language immediately. The pause, the embarrassment, the silent calculation. I had lived that moment many times, so I paid for the drink, then walked away before they could turn it into a big moment. It wasn't generosity on some grand scale. I didn't solve inequality. I didn't change their life. I just removed 30 seconds of embarrassment, and strangely, that meant something to me, because at 22, I was the person staring at the payment machine. Now I could make that feeling disappear for someone else. That is level 7. Money is still there, but it no longer occupies the center of your life. Imagine two people, Same age, same city, same company, same salary, same starting point. Friday morning. Their salaries arrive. The first person wakes up. Money has already moved automatically. Investments funded, savings funded, bills covered. They go to work. They don't think about payday again. The second person wakes up, checks the salary, feels rich, orders something, goes out that night, spends over the weekend, promises to save whatever is left. By Thursday, the account is getting tight. Next Friday feels like rescue. Then the cycle starts again. From the outside, these two people may look identical. Same income, same job, same education. But repeat those behaviors for 30 years, and they will live in completely different financial worlds. The difference is not IQ. It is not intelligence. And in many cases, it is not even income. The difference is how early each person learned to read money, because financial awareness compounds too. Level 1 decisions become Level 1 habits. Level 4 systems become Level 5 wealth. And Level 5 wealth eventually creates Level 7 freedom. You don't need to jump from Level 1 to Level 7 tomorrow. That isn't how this works. You just need to move one level higher. Look at the numbers. Face the truth. Learn the rules. Build the system. Automate the behavior. Then give time a chance to do what time does best. Compound. A 22. I thought financial freedom would sound like applause. Now, I know better. It sounds like silence. No panic, no calculation before every small purchase, no fear when your boss sends a message, no countdown to payday, just options, space, time, and maybe that's the real point of money. Not to make your life louder, but to make fear quieter. So ask yourself one question. What level are you on right now? And more importantly, what would it take to move up one level before this year ends?